Coming up on the Celtics Talk podcast, oh, do we have a guest for you? Marcus Smart drops by to tell us all about the roller coaster ride that was the 2021-22 season and where he thinks it might end. All that's coming up on the Celtics Talk podcast. All right, Marcus, I want to start here. At end of last season, you were telling us kind of a tough year for you personally. Just want to know what it's like. You signed the extension this offseason. You come in and now you guys launch here in the second half of the year. How rewarding has this season been for you personally?
Very rewarding. A lot of things have happened, in the year and even this year that has put a lot of things in my life in perspective and, really just allowed me to focus on things positive energy, things that really matter, and really not focus on the things that doesn't. And that's being able to play the game of basketball. Even in the beginning of the year when things weren't going as great for us, the point in that for me was, I'm blessed to come out here and do this every single day. And a lot of people don't get that opportunity. So, let's make the best out of it whenever we can, and things will turn around. You just got to stay on the right path and keep that positive energy.
So early in the year, but whether it was calling the team meeting or, you publicly said like, hey, like even putting pressure on the Jays to grow and develop their game. Is it nice now to watch the way this is all blossomed? Is this what you sort of knew was possible back then?
Yeah, but even back with the whole Jay thing comment, it really, really did get taken out of context, and I haven't really spoke on it for the simple fact because it wasn't something, like I said, that I was worth giving my energy to, because at the end of the day, what I said, and if you really listen closely and you was in that meeting, I said when for other teams, this is their scouting report. Other teams are saying this about our team, which are when it comes to our two best players. And we as a team have to do a better job at helping them help us as a team to get better. And they're only going to get better, but they have to get better at it. It's something for us to be good, it's something that they have to get better in. And ultimately, by them doing that, the whole team is getting better at that. And it's shown, with these, the beginning of this year, in the second half of the season for us, those two guys have stepped up their play and been developing and growing exponentially in the right way that this team needs. And it's only been making the team even better.
So whenever I sort the season, like I break it up into two seasons pretty much. There's like everything before January 23rd and sort of the roller coaster and you guys getting healthy. And then there's when you came back from COVID. You guys are 26-6. You now have the best offensive rating in the league since that point, the best defensive rating. What stands out to you about the way the team is playing now? What was it that changed? Was it just health? Or like, did you come back? Were you playing different? Like, how has this exploded?
It's probably a little bit of everything. I mean, we had guys out. We were trying different lineups, trying to, get that cohesiveness going with each other. Guys in new roles, guys having to trust each other in those new roles and trying to figure out, the best way for the team to be great with this guy in this role. So, I mean, it was a lot that went into that. I think coming into the second half of the season, it was more of, okay, the trade deadline's gone. So now we know going forward, this is who we're going to be with. This is what now we can really lock in and get things, tuned up and really sharpen those tools that we have in this toolbox. And that's us. And that's what it was. We got to settle down. We got to actually, understand that, okay, this is where we're going and this is how it's going to be. The changes are going to be very minimal. So you don't have to be expecting any big changes and just play ball. And that's what it was.
How rewarding has it been for you personally? Fair or not, there was questions about, could you be the point guard of this group? Even though the numbers from every time in the past were like when Marcus was the point guard, you guys were very good. How rewarding has it been that you've just sort of thrived in this role? And again, did you have to change anything about the way you played, or are you just being yourself?
Just being myself, really just playing the game of basketball that I know how to play and been playing, coming out of high school, I was a point guard. Got to college as a point guard. Got drafted as a point guard. So, you know, my first couple of years, it was just really tough because some nights I was supposed to be the point guard. Some nights they wanted me to play off the ball. Other nights they wanted me to do this. So I was more of a Swiss Army knife than just a straight boring arrow and things like that. So I couldn't really perfect one thing. I had to be good at a lot of things. Whereas guys can focus on one thing. If you're a scorer, you focus on scoring. If you're this, you focus on this. I had to focus on a lot of things that I couldn't just perfect one thing. So being in that point guard position, you know, where I'm comfortable, it allows me to portray all those aspects of my game that I have to have as a Swiss Army knife, and the versatility that I bring to be able to do those things on the team.
So I've been trying to pump your Defensive Player of the Year case. It's hard because there's no like stats for perimeter defenders that are easy to be like, because all those backline guys have blocks and all that. How much fun have you had trying to pump your own candidacy? I'd like the tweets, like all the 1996 stuff, the GP stuff. Like, how hard has it been, like in your mind, just trying to sway the way voters look at Defensive Player of the Year?
I mean, it's always tough, especially as a guard, for multiple reasons. And one of those reasons, like you said, there's nothing statistically to help a guard speak his case in this category. The bigs have blocks, they have the rebounds and things like this. So we're already at a disadvantage. But then to be able to go out there as guards and still compete the way we do every night against the best guards and best players, because let's be honest, most of the guys that are the best players in this league, majority of them are perimeter players, which means the guards are the ones that's taking on more full heat off the rip from those guys. And to be able not to even have a stat for that just says a lot about how biased this award is towards the big men. And understandably, you know, we cannot downgrade, dismantle what the bigs do. You know, they are very vital to any defense. But at the same time, that front line, if you don't have a front line and make it hard for those guys to get to our bigs, it'll be a long night for those bigs. And then think about it, as a guard, you have to be able to switch 1, 2, 3, 4, and in my position 5. I'm switching 1 through 5 and have to hold my own, knowing that, you know, I'm gonna be put in every action. I'm gonna be put in all these actions, and I have to be able to still be effective when they try to get me out of these actions and things like that. So it's definitely tough for us guards to really state our case in this battle for Defensive Player of the Year, because there's nothing there to help us. There's no stats for us at all. So it's tough, but, you know, it's part of it. It's part of the deal. You know, we keep going and showing what we can do.
I'll keep digging for you. There's some like versatility metrics that I can try and dig up for you, but I'm trying because when you watch on a night to night basis, it really shines through. All right, let's get to the fun stuff. All right. Ime, Grant Williams, the April Fool's Day prank.
Me and Grant Williams just got the team and shoot around now.
What'd you do?
How'd you get him?
We got in a fake argument and started walking toward each other, and I was expecting a player or somebody to get in between us, but nobody stepped up. So.
A bunch of babies. Jeez.
What's going through your mind as you're watching it? And the walrus stuff afterward was hilarious. What do you think would have happened if they actually threw hands?
Oh man. It was funny because it came out of nowhere. It was a surprise. Everyone was just kind of like, are they serious? Like, what's going on? Like, but it seemed a little off at the same time, because once again, it's like, are they serious? Like, it's game day. What are they doing? Like, what's going on? Like, so, and because of the way Grant responded right away, I had a feeling something was up, but they did a good job. I mean, they got me. And, you know, it's cool to be able to do that thing. You know, it's a lot going on. Be able to laugh and, you know, decompress and take away a lot of stress and just be happy. It's good. Laughter is good for the soul. It's good for you. It's good for the mind. So that was good. And the walrus thing, I don't know. I mean, have you ever seen two walrus fight?
No, but it was the perfect analogy, though. Like, I'm a writer, and I could not have come up with that. And so I might need you for some descriptions.
I have, and it's exactly what I imagined those two doing. It's not throwing hands. It's more just slapping bodies.
Tell me about the chemistry on this group, because certainly when things are going poorly, like naturally we all sit here and overanalyze everything, every chat on the bench. But getting to be on the road with you guys last week, watching how excited you were for everything that's going on with that second group up in Toronto and cheering on Peyton Pritchard and everything that goes on. What's the chemistry like with this group?
It's a brotherhood, you know. And we spend so much time together that it's kind of hard for you not to build that chemistry. You have to have it. And, you know, these younger guys, that second group guys that come in for us, starters, and guys and everybody don't see the work they're putting in and staying ready, not knowing, okay, am I going to play today? How many minutes am I going to play today? Okay, what kind of shots am I going to get? Okay, dang, if I miss a shot, like just everything that goes into it of being ready coming off that bench. And we just want to make sure as a collective unit that we support each other through the bad and the good. We're going to win together. We're going to lose together. And, you know, I've been doing this for 8 years, and I've known that, you know, when those guys come in and the starters are sitting, and if you're just sitting there looking like you're not even invested, those guys are going to feel the exact same way, and their confidence is going to continue to go down. When we come out the game and they look over that bench and we're talking to them, they hear us cheering, you know, encouraging them, they feel good about themselves. And that's only going to help us as a team down the road.
What's Ime like behind the scenes? We see the very public side, and like he seems pretty similar. I'm guessing there's not a huge difference, but you always see a little, like with Brad, you saw a different side, a little bit looser behind the scenes. And what's it like when Ime goes the hard route and does call you guys out a little bit? How do you take that as players? And was that something that this team needed?
Yeah, I mean, Ime's Ime. I mean, I think Ime is the same way behind closed doors that he is in public. I mean, he's going to always keep it real with you. He doesn't care if he hurts your feelings. He's going to keep it real with you. He's going to be honest with you. You know, he's a cool guy, cool, not really hot, not really heated, but can, you know, obviously you don't want to make him mad, you know, and he's not going to back down from any challenge, just like anybody else. We still forget that he still thinks he's a competitor, you know, so, but we definitely need it as a team. You know, sometimes you need that extra little kick in the butt to get you going, you know, and that's why you have 5 other guys. That's why you have the coaching staff and other guys to help. You know, it's a team thing, you know, not one body is going to do this on their own. We all need each other.
All right, and let's end on this. What's the potential for this group? You guys got 3 games left. I hear you're going to like a baseball game out in Chicago, but like a long Midwest trip before you dive into these playoffs. Based on what you've seen, especially the last 10 weeks, what do you believe is the ceiling for this team?
I mean, whatever we put our mind to, if we come out with the right mindset, the right focus, I think we can do something big and hang another banner. And I know every team says that, but not every team actually has an opportunity to do that. We're one of the teams that do. And the way we've been playing, I think it shows that not just for us, but it shows to everybody else that they have to come ready to play, because we are. And if not, it could be trouble for you. So as long as we can stay focused, stay healthy, you know, and play the game the right way and keep having fun, anything's possible for us, literally.
And I got one more, actually. Rob Williams, make the case for him for all defense. How much would it mean to you to have both you guys on all defense?
It'd be an honor, man. Rob's been working his tail off. You know, ever since Rob got here, you know, me and him just been talking. You know, I've just been explaining to how he could be one of the best defensive players to ever play this game with his ability, you know, to do things that nobody else does and his uniqueness. So, you know, to be able to have him on that all defensive team and be a part of it with him, man, that'd be something big, you know, especially because of how hard he's worked and the growth that he's had over the years to be in this, even in this discussion. So it'd be an honor.
All right. Good luck in the playoffs, Marcus. Can't wait to see what happens.
Thank you.
All right. There you have it. Marcus Smart. Wherever these Celtics want to go is where he believes they can finish. You can feel it. You know, when Rob got injured, I think there was this notion, especially amongst me, I was just worried about Rob's health, about, you know, would it be worth rushing him back? But it's clear, based on the way the Celtics have played the last 10 weeks and the vibes around the team and the openness of the East, that Marcus believes there's a chance here for these Celtics to truly compete for an 18th banner. And so it feels like they're all in on pushing this thing. Now, it's not going to be easy, the big lingering question as we record here early in the final week of the regular season is where the Celtics will land in the seedings. Right now, the number 2 spot is the most likely scenario, but they'd probably have to beat Milwaukee on Thursday night, part of a back-to-back that opens in Chicago as part of this 3-game road trip to close out the season. Now, what the unknown is who's going to rest guys. As teams start to get locked into positions, or as teams start jockeying a little bit to land in one spot or another, will you have a full complement of players out there? So all these simulations that I'm throwing at you might not be accurate by the time we get to those nights. But the sense I get is that the Celtics value home court. We've seen how good they've been inside TD Garden. There's this notion that role players play better at home than on the road. And so if you're hopeful that the likes of Grant Williams and Peyton Pritchard and Derek White will thrive in the postseason, there's a benefit to getting that 2 seed or the 1 seed if it comes back into play. But really looks like Miami's going to salt that away. So if the Celtics are thinking, okay, a 2 possible, you get through the first round, you get Rob back, you also have home court advantage against whoever you go up against next. So whether that's Milwaukee and Giannis or Philadelphia and Embiid, those are going to be tough matchups for the Celtics. But maybe there's a benefit to being at home. It just gives you another layer of protection as you try to navigate your way through what is a beefed up Eastern Conference. I've said it before on this pod. Like in the past, it felt like especially in the infancy of Jalen and Jason, sometimes it felt like you just had to get past LeBron to get to the NBA Finals. And it's not that way anymore. There's a lot of good teams. I mean, we spent the last few weeks on this podcast wondering, should the Celtics try to avoid the Nets? And that feels like it's probably fizzled. When you look at all the points the Nets are giving up, I don't know if they should scare anybody. And when you look at the way the Celtics have played the last 10 weeks, I've kind of come to the realization they shouldn't fear anyone either. The rest of the Eastern Conference should be the ones trying to navigate away from the Boston Celtics, especially once they get Rob back. And at full, this team has been a juggernaut. The starting 5, defensive rating of 97 in almost 500 minutes of play. This team has been really good, and it's proven itself out. I wrote today, if you zoom in since January 23rd, the day Marcus Smart came back from COVID, leads the league in offensive rating, defensive rating, and net rating. 26-6 since that point. And now, sure, you can be leery. There's been some bumps in the road. That Miami game hurt last week when they weren't able to pull it out at the end. All that being said, I think this team has established itself as a legitimate contender. And look, we were all a little bit leery along the way. Was this sustainable? But sure feels like they have proven themselves. And I almost wish I could hit the fast forward button. Not too much, because you guys get a lot more Celtics Talk podcasts to listen to before we get to the finish line of the season and into the playoffs. But I'm eager to get this thing going and see what it looks like when the games go up a level in intensity. Last thing I'll leave you with here. We talked to Marcus there a lot about Defensive Player of the Year. I think we've said on this program that Ime is going to be in the Coach of the Year conversation, but whether it's with Memphis or Monty Williams out in Phoenix, it feels like he's probably going to struggle to invade that, even though if maybe the Celtics got up to the 1 seed, there would be higher consideration for all these guys. The big lingering question to me is, where does Jason Tatum finish on the all NBA teams? So the what's working against him right now, I mean, he's been just absolutely brilliant over the last half of the year, starting with that January 23rd game against Washington where he went for 51 points. But so what's going to happen is Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid, who are the 2 most likely MVP candidates, are both centers. And you can't put them both on the All-NBA first team unless you bend the rules a little bit and you can put one as a forward when they're not really forwards. So it all comes down to, will voters, as the NBA becomes more positionless, take advantage of the loophole that you can put them at different spots? Or will they stay firm and just push one of them to the second team? Presumably Embiid, who, if you believe that Jokic is the MVP this year. So, you're going to have Jokic, Giannis at one of the center and forward spots. It's going to be a forward spot open. Now, are you putting Embiid there? Because that's going to probably take Jason Tatum and push him to the second team. There's also the Kevin Durant thing. Only played probably 55 games this year. So some voters might hold that against him, especially, and if you're being honest, they're the 10th best team in the Eastern Conference right now. So that should be probably working against him. But there's undeniable, like Kevin Durant's a great player. And so do you slot him on the first team? I'm very interested to see how the votes come down. Jason Tatum is eligible as both a forward and a guard, but there's all these wacky rules about where you land. You have to have the most votes at that. And so it could get a little crazy. I'm eager to see. I think at worst, Jason Tatum lands on the second team, but it's the way he's played the last half of the year, you can make a strong case for first team consideration. And especially as the Celtics have surged. I just think voters should value winning above all else. And it's the reason why you have tough debates about guys like Kevin Durant and LeBron James based on the struggles of their team. But very interested to see how it all shakes out. It's one of the, before we get to the postseason, those are the storylines that we can consider. And if anybody else gets muscled into consideration here, I need everybody to go like, subscribe, check us out on the YouTube page. We'll catch you next time on the Celtics Talk podcast.